Imagine standing in front of a dark cave hidden deep within a remote mountain. The air around you is still. Then suddenly, without warning, a powerful gust of wind bursts out of the cave entrance. Leaves scatter across the ground. Dust swirls through the air. The wind is strong enough to make you step back. Then something strange happens. The wind suddenly stops. For a moment, everything becomes completely silent. And then the air begins rushing back inside the cave, as if the mountain itself is inhaling. Moments later, the wind explodes outward again, inhaling, exhaling, over and over again. To anyone witnessing this strange phenomenon, the cave appears to be breathing like a giant creature hidden deep underground. For centuries, people who lived near caves like this believed something alive was sleeping inside the mountain. Some believed enormous creatures lived beneath the earth. Others believed these caves were entrances to mysterious underground worlds. But when scientists began studying these caves, they discovered something unexpected. Because these caves really do appear to breathe, and the real explanation reveals something fascinating about the hidden systems beneath our planet. Stories about breathing caves have appeared in different parts of the world. For hundreds of years, travelers have described sudden blasts of wind emerging from dark cave entrances. Sometimes the air flows outward for long periods of time. Then, without warning, the direction suddenly reverses. Air begins rushing back into the cave. In some caves, the airflow is so powerful that explorers say it feels like standing in front of a giant invisible fan. The wind roars through narrow tunnels, producing deep rumbling sounds that echo through the underground passages. Imagine standing inside a dark cave, while a powerful wind rushes through the tunnels around you. The sound can resemble the breathing of a massive creature hidden somewhere in the darkness. Before modern science, experiences like this were deeply unsettling. It was easy to imagine something alive inside the mountain. But scientists eventually began asking a different question. What natural process could move such enormous amounts of air? Through a cave system? The answer turned out to be far more interesting than the myths. When scientists first began investigating breathing caves, they installed instruments to measure airflow near cave entrances. They expected the air movement to be random, but instead they discovered something surprising. The airflow followed patterns. At certain times of day, air flowed outward from the cave. Later, the direction reversed. Air rushed back inside. This cycle repeated again and again. The cave was behaving like a massive natural ventilation system. But what was causing the air to move in such powerful currents? To answer that question, scientists had to look closely at the structure of caves themselves, because most caves are far larger than people imagine. Deep underground, cave systems can stretch for kilometers through solid rock. Some contain enormous chambers connected by long, winding tunnels. These underground spaces can hold vast volumes of air, and under the right conditions, that air begins to move. The secret behind breathing caves comes from one of the simplest rules in physics. Warm air rises, cold air sinks. Inside deep caves, temperatures remain remarkably stable. The rock surrounding the cave acts like natural insulation. This prevents rapid temperature changes inside the cave system. In many caves, the air temperature remains nearly constant throughout the entire year. But outside the cave, temperatures constantly change. During the daytime, sunlight warms the air outside the mountain. At night, temperatures drop as heat escapes into the atmosphere. These temperature differences create pressure changes between the cave interior and the outside world. When air pressure changes, air begins to move. During warmer conditions, lighter air outside rises upward. This allows cooler, denser air from inside the cave to flow outward. The cave appears to exhale. Later, when outside air becomes cooler and heavier, it begins flowing into the cave. The cave appears to inhale. This continuous exchange of air can make the cave seem almost alive. Some breathing caves move astonishing amounts of air. In large cave systems, thousands of cubic meters of air can travel through underground passages every hour. The airflow can become especially powerful in caves that have multiple entrances at different elevations. Air entering a lower entrance may travel through tunnels before exiting through another, opening higher on the mountain. As the air passes through narrow passages, it speeds up dramatically. This effect is known as the chimney effect. In certain caves, the resulting wind can become extremely powerful. Explorers have reported strong gusts capable of extinguishing lanterns or blowing out torches. The sound of the rushing wind can echo through the cave system, producing deep roaring noises. To early explorers, these sounds were terrifying. Imagine standing deep underground while powerful winds roar through the darkness. Without understanding the science behind it, it would be easy to imagine something enormous breathing somewhere within the mountain. But the deeper scientists explore these cave systems, the more surprising discoveries they make. Many cave networks are far larger than anyone originally believed. Some contain chambers so large they could hold skyscrapers. Others hide underground rivers that flow through. Complete darkness for kilometers. In places like Vietnam, China, and the United States, explorers continue discovering new sections of cave systems every year. These underground worlds remain largely unexplored. The airflow inside these systems can travel through dozens of hidden tunnels before finally reaching the surface. In some cases, air entering a cave may circulate through the underground system for hours before emerging again. The breathing we feel near the cave. Entrance is only a small part of a much larger underground network, a hidden world beneath the Earth's surface. Standing near the entrance of a breathing cave can feel almost surreal. A powerful gust of cold air suddenly rushes out from the darkness. Leaves scatter across the ground. Moments later, the wind disappears back into the cave again, inhaling, exhaling, again and again. For centuries, people believed something alive was hidden inside these mountains. But the truth is even more fascinating, because the cave itself is not alive. Instead, it is part of a vast natural system shaped by geology, temperature, and the movement of air. Deep beneath our feet, enormous cave networks quietly move air through the planet. Invisible systems that most of us will never see. And somewhere inside those dark tunnels, the mountain continues its slow, endless breath. Quietly, patiently. Like the Earth itself is breathing,